the future of the games that we love so much.
Okay.
Middle-earth strategy battle game and Warhammer 40,000.
Okay.
And by what the future holds, essentially, how can they keep these games alive is a way of looking at it. Because Middle-earth has been going, for example, since 2001 or 2.
Yeah, 2001, I believe.
Yeah, we've had multiple editions. We've had, and this will be part of the discussion, I think, but pretty much every character released. Without drastically changing the rules, how can they really keep this game moving forward? Keep fans interested, keep people like us engaged in the game? Because after a while, when you're playing with the same characters, the same models for years and years, does it get stale?
I definitely think there is yes, it will get stale, especially if you only want to ever play the same things.
Yeah.
Like if you've just got one army that you collect and nothing else, and you're just only playing that one all the time, then I think it can get stale, no matter how many different ones you come up against.
Yeah. Because it's always nice to have a goal, right? And whether that goal is like, Emperor's Children in 40k, for example, they're releasing new stuff right now. It's a new army. I'm excited to collect it. I can't wait for Fulgrim to come out. I can't wait for the Flawless Blades to come out and build my army and aim for that 2,000 points and beyond. Whereas let's say I want to collect Rangers in Middle-earth, that range isn't going to grow at all.
No, but then so it's hard to argue that with Middle-earth in general as opposed to even particular armies. Like, is there, when you think of army-wise, what, apart from one or two of the War of the Rohirrim stuff that hasn't come out yet, is there much?
I think, well, in reality, they've covered pretty much every movie character.
Yes.
Because let's not forget, their license is a New Line Cinema license, correct?
Yes.
However, I think that means they get access to anything that New Line had access to. So the appendices. For example, before War of the Rohirrim, we had a Helm Hammerhand.
Yes.
And Helm Hammerhand was from early Third Age, earlier Third Age. So they can release things that aren't in the movies. I mean, Rangers is a good example. You don't even see any of the Grey Company or Dunedain Rangers outside of Aragorn at all in the movies. And yet we've got a fairly large range of those.
Yeah.
Characters like Arenath. So it's definitely doable. And that leads me into thinking, will we ever get models from different ages? Is that a way to keep the game alive?
I think eventually, but I suppose the other part as well is like they've made up several characters.
They have.
So are they more likely just to make up more or go to a different age? Because you have your Dragon Emperor, for example.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, I might get corrected, but I feel like that's definitely a Games Workshop made up. I mean, they made up backstories for the Ringwraiths. Yeah. Which don't exist. So, is it a case of we could go to an earlier age, or are they just going to go, you know what, let's make a Ranger X from 200 years prior? And
I would like that personally. Yeah. I like creating my own story. There's so many characters in Middle-earth. It's just a vast world that there could be great heroes amongst them that we haven't been told about.
And they're like, it's a very hard thing because of the Rings of Power, for example. The lore people who we kind of come under that umbrella, who are very much, like respect the law, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And they're making stuff up. So some of the things that people don't like a lot about, say, the Rings of Power is the made up stuff. But is that the difference between having an adaptation of a show you're going to watch and a game where you can do all these what ifs?
But what's funny about that is I would have preferred Rings of Power if it was focused around made up stuff, not changing existing characters like Galadriel. Yeah. That's what bugs me, is change in existing. If you want to focus on something that we know nothing about and tell us a story that doesn't exist, that's not that bad to me. Yeah. And I think that's why it works in Games Workshop, because we can look at these stories we know nothing about, these theoretical stories, these theoretical characters, and have fun crafting our own narratives with them. Yeah. Rather than going, let's make Galadriel a badass warrior princess.
Okay, so thinking then sideways of before we think of a different age, if we thought similar ages, or third age, in other words, and said, okay, what's missing? Is there anything missing first before they would even go down this route of, we got to look elsewhere?
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the example of Helm Hammerhand again, he's a king of Rohan from 200-300 years prior to Theoden. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think it's somewhere in that region. Why can't we do that for Gondor? And, you know, other places.
I guess Helm Hammerhand actually had his story written.
Yeah.
At least briefly. So I guess it's whether there's others who do have that as well.
There definitely is. There's a whole, like, there's family trees and timelines of characters throughout all of the ages.
Oh, yeah,
so you can definitely look at past kings and princes and warriors and bring them into the game, even just in the Third Age.
Yeah. Are there any that you, like, in your mind, you're going, I want that?
Not for the Third Age in particular. I mean, my family history is poor, but looking at the line of Gondor, like who came before Denethor? Who's after Aenir? Like, what's the line of stewards? Were any of them mighty warriors? You know, there's bound to be something in that they could look at.
Okay.
I'm just kind of spitballing. Like, imagine this was a GW head execs meeting now for MESBG, and you know, what would we look at? And that's probably where I'd start. I'd say let's start with the Third Age. Look at these heroes we know little about, but know they exist, and give them a story.
Yeah,
which is what they've done at times. So.
Yeah, I mean, one character I'm surprised they've never done, and he's not by any stretch a major character, but Barondir. So the one who carried the red arrow is the Horn of Gondor film on fan film on YouTube. But someone like that, which are like, he had a moment. He has a thing basically of surviving and riding. So like you could almost make a slightly more knights type list. Oh no, he's on his own, and it was like a party, a small group of them. But I feel like characters like that, they could almost go like, oh, this is the one who did this, and then give him a cool role.
No, that's a good shout actually. Yeah.
But there's probably loads of just done like something little that you go, actually, we could make some characters.
That's funny. I remember when I last went through the books saying that to you, or something similar, like that. Why is there not more of that guy? But yeah, that's a good shout actually. Let's do that. GW, if you're listening on our Patreon exclusive podcast.
I mean, even like, if you think of the fiefdoms, obviously they've just announced the Imrahil one, and can't wait for those, and can't wait for all the Dol Amroth blueness that's going to be amazing, and I'm going to have too much of. But like the fiefdoms, there's lots of fiefdoms. Yeah, it's not just the fiefdoms; there's several of them. Yeah. So could they not expand that and give each one more of its own individualness?
I guess the risk with things like that is how many people care about things like that. If they release a new Gandalf, how would that sell? If they release a new head of a fiefdoms warband, what would that sell in comparison?
Yeah, but the thing is for the people who play in is to give you an army that does something a little bit different. Yeah, it's not just to go, okay, no, they got the exact same stats as Warriors of Minas Tirith, and they're just coloured different. It's what's this army bonus? I mean, it's hard because of how they've now done army building that it makes that a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
But like if you had like a fiefdom list and it had different army roles for different fiefdoms and the ones who lead them and how they work together, that could, I know we've got like the very small amount of like Blackroot and not the Men-at-Arms anymore because they're the ones that have gone.
Forlong the Fat.
Yeah, Forlong the Fat and all that kind of stuff. But
Lossenarg.
Yeah, like you could have all different ones, even in like different color schemes. So you can have like your yellow, like really make them all stand out as things are Gondor.
I definitely agree with that. And I guess in reality, this game is probably mainly kept alive by the competitive scene. Those that, you know, like us, are really keen on expanding and trying new armies and different tactics and winning tournaments and looking at competitive lists and all that. Yeah. And it's people like us that, you know, we might run a list in a few tournaments and be like, it's not doing what I want. Oh, wait, they're releasing a new fiefdoms character I've never heard of. Let's see if that works. Like, it's not necessarily aimed at Lord of the Rings fans. Because my example there of Gandalf versus a random fiefdoms chieftain, it's not necessarily the point. Releasing a new Gandalf might not get hundreds and thousands of people into the game. Yeah. But releasing a character that appeals to the people that are keeping the game alive will probably actually do better for sales. Yeah. Yeah, especially if you took an army like, I don't know, what's probably a not particularly well-selling army? Probably like a Harrod or something. Hence they took all of Far Harrod off the range. I suppose, that's the hard bit because they've literally just taken off things that would be my argument is to add on to bring them back. So that's really backwards, I guess. But it's that kind of thing. That's where they got to take the army that you go, oh, this one really doesn't sell as well as the others. Yeah. Let's introduce a new like hero, maybe a name mentioned somewhere, make it up again. I think with MESBG, like I'm all for making up characters. Yeah, so whereas
the movie's not so much,
Yeah.
but I'm all for that. And then you go, okay, cool. Introduce them, give them some cool new rules, make people want to go, okay, well, I need this, which also means I need this, this, and this from Howard. Let's buy those things. Like we've said before, MESBG isn't as expensive. It's not as hard to go, I need to get these couple of boxes with this hero. Let's do it all. And that, I think, like doing that over time with different armies, I think is a good way to kind of keeping it a bit more fresh.
Thinking about this whole discussion, the rise and fall of Arnor, when was that?
What? In what?
When did Arnor fall? Is that the Third Age?
Yeah.
How far into the Third Age is that?
Oh God, a fair bit into it, because obviously they came over from the drowning of Numenor, established Gondor and Arnor.
But that's all Second Age, because the end of the Second Age is the Last Alliance, where Elendil dies. So that must be Second Age, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Third Age, because you've got hobbits and stuff who were mentioned, which weren't Second Age.
Yeah.
Rings of Power. I can't think of the exact years off the top of my head, but it's definitely third.
Okay. Yeah, and if we're talking about like releases that aren't so mainstream, when they released all the new Arnor and Cardoom stuff, it all sold out.
Yeah.
You couldn't get any of it after the first day or two.
Yeah.
So that, again, shows that there is still a market for releasing new stuff in this game. Whether it's just they're underproducing or whether it's purely down to, new stuff.
Yeah.
Snapping it up. I don't know. But there is still a market for it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of any others that could be quite cool. I mean, if you went down the idea of the fiefdom thing as well, you could think of like the 7 houses of the dwarves.
Yeah.
And try and get a different type of dwarven army for each one. Like, there is so much room to play with. And then again, if you go back in terms of ages, then I mean, Morgoth, anyone? Like,
Fingolfin.
Like, if Smaug could be a 700 point army destroyer, make Morgoth 1,000 points.
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
have it. He is a one-man army. Or maybe 900 points, you can have some orcs.
Do you know what's interesting here is we actually briefly off camera earlier discussed the idea of other versions of MESBG. So in 40k, you've got 40k, you have Kill Team, Necromunda, I don't know, Blood Bowl. There's all sorts of games within that world. They don't do that with MESBG because it works so well at 200 points and 1,000 points. It kind of hits all the criteria.
Yeah.
But what they could do is go first stage and do like almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? A large, small scale version. So every character is a Morgoth, an Owle, like battles. It's like a Titan game.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. What's it called when you just use Titans in 40k? Whatever. But you get what I'm saying. So you just have like 3 or 4 models per side, but they're ridiculously powerful. You could do something like that.
That would be epic, because then that also gives them a reason to up the scale.
Oh, yeah.
So in a way, you kind of go, okay, well, yeah, you can't use this in a MESBG, and it's not like you're getting a Sauron and then you get a Morgoth, and you go, oh, well, they could just be used together. So I should go, no. This is your Morgoth.
Yeah.
And Sauron's down here.
Well, they've done that in 40k with, because I don't play it, I forget the names, like Titanicus or something like that, where they've basically released loads of knights, but they're small.
Yeah.
So you can play the Titans and it all scales. Those can't play in 40k.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, at least. So they could do something like that.
That would be cool.
They never will, but it's an idea.
Yeah.
And we're spitballing.
Yeah, that would be epic. You need like you just need like a little tray, and it's like, oh, this is 1,000 orcs.
No, what they do is they just no, they can do it. They could release a first stage list, and you can't have Helm Hammerhand in a list with Theoden. You can't do it. So you just do that with your first stage guys. You just can't have Fingolfin in a list with Elrond, for example, or something. Like they could theoretically make it work.
Yeah.
And you just adjust the point values. Characters like Fingolfin and Morgoth are insane points.
Oh, yeah.
I say 800 for Morgoth is fair. So you can still have some orcs. Double Sauron.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at any of the Valar, they're just different.
Yeah,
different world.
They are. I think double Sauron is good, though. I think doubling a Maya is fair shout. Like in reality, it'd probably be more, but I think
it is that awkward one of going, like, okay, if you go by the law, this, but the same way, okay, if you go 40k in Custodes, you have way too many custodies.
Yeah.
Realistically, for points of what.
Yeah.
So I guess you just kind of it's a game. You scale it.
I think it would work personally.
Back our Kickstarter for
for Morgoth.
for Malguth.
Totally not Morgoth. For Malcor. Malcorth. My shin. Oh, that's so pointy. My foot just slipped off the bar of the stool onto the... Can you see?
No, they can't.
Oh, that hurts so bad. I think I've just put a hole in my shin. Anyway, that's where the future of MESBG is. Oh, I want to cry.
That was Games Workshop controlling from afar, going, "Shut up! Stop giving good ideas."
No, that was Morgoth. Stop trying to make me mini. Oh, God, that hurt. Oh, God. If we didn't edit these... Wait, if we did edit these, I'd totally cry right now. Just to cut it out. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I've lost my train of thought now.
Is there anything else that we would add on if we were controlling the future of this game?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was the whole point of that conversation, wasn't it? Instead, we just invented a new game. How do we improve the game? Make a new one.
No, I think I settled purely there on it would work in this game.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of the things to improve the game going forward involves returning to previous things.
Yeah? Oh, let's build them. Yeah.
I think improving that, I think is... Because I've never played Horus Heresy, and I had to get you to explain this to me. But you said basically that game plays like 7th edition?
I think 40K. So, yeah.
So you almost need them to do like a spin-off and have it so you can build alliances or something.
Well, the Horus Heresy is the equivalent of the Second Age.
Yeah, it's 30K, isn't it? Yeah, so... Yeah, like I just... To keep it fresh, I feel like eventually they'll just have to go, you know what? Let's reinvent the game. This time, yes, you can take Theoden with Helm Hammerhand if you want. We're bringing you what you've asked for, and everyone will be like, "This is just what we had." But but that's what they do. And
I don't think you could ever do that though. But
what?
Take Theoden with Helm Hammerhand.
Yeah, you could. You could ally them.
No, because they're both Rohan at different times. You could ally Rohan with Gondor, or something.
You could ally anything with anything. You just lose all your army bonuses.
Could you have Theoden and Helm in the same army? I'm not sure you could.
Why not?
Because they didn't exist at the same time. That's the whole point.
I think you could, couldn't you? I thought you could pretty much ally anything. You just lose all the bonuses.
I don't know. I mean,
we never did it, so I don't know.
Yeah, we never did ally, and we just kept it pure. And then when they made it official that you keep it pure, we complained.
Well, it's because
classic GW fans.
Yeah, we were only just getting into the competitive part, and that's where you want to do it.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a shout. A Horus Heresy version.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else now game-wise that would...
We've talked about this before, but scoring competitively.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that is a huge one. I definitely think that needs a massive revamp.
Yeah, because while the competitive scene is alive and well, probably the most it's ever been, I think we definitely could improve the scoring, and that's something that 40K does really well. Yeah,
it still bugs me to this day that everything just gets scored at the end.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like it to be an ongoing thing. I like to feel how you're doing.
Yeah.
And then if you make a comeback, it almost feels better.
Yeah.
And I also still like with 40K the like secondaries.
Yes.
I like stuff that's not predetermined from the start.
Yeah.
And can help you if you are in a battle where you're against something, you're like, oh God, it's like if it was like Army of the Dead versus basic goblins, and if you're the goblins, you're a bit like, oh God, this is just an uphill struggle from the start.
Yeah.
But then you still go, oh, well, if I get some secondaries, which is more about ball control, then I'm outnumbering, I'm a horde, so I do actually have good chances.
Adds a different dynamic to the game, and a vastly better one in my opinion. Also, this makes no sense, but it makes it more of a spectator sport.
Yeah, it does.
It's not sport, obviously, but
it'd be like watching a game of football and going, well, you can't count anything. You can't score. No, because they wouldn't work actually with sport.
Well, it does. Like you could,
It's a weird one to think. Like if you're at a game of football, go, oh, well, you don't count the goals till the end.
Yeah.
Like, but you do because you're doing. No, I suppose that's a weird one.
But how they do it in Middle Earth doesn't like it does make sense, but also it doesn't. It's like even if you look at, I was playing Space Marine 2 online yesterday. Yeah. Right. So using that as an analogy, you have things like Seize Ground or whatever it's called, which is domination.
Yeah.
You're trying to control objectives. in reality, it only matters what the score is at the end. But you still see the scores going up throughout the entire game.
Yeah.
I actually took a picture to send you. I forgot. I played my first game of it. It's first to 200, kind of like Call of Duty.
Right.
And the other team was on 199. And you know how quick it goes up when they're holding all the objectives? And I was like, oh, it's over. And then my team took all the objectives and won 200 to 199. I've never seen anything like it in an online game in my life. It was insane. But yeah, that example works because those sort of things are essentially what we are replicating on the tabletop.
Yeah.
So if that can be scored throughout the game, why can't this?
Yeah, I definitely think it could. And I definitely think that's something that we will do regardless. I know
what do you mean?
We'll make up our own point system.
Right.
And do it that and show how much better it is. And it's now out on the internet to show that if anyone else does it, they've copied us.
So what you're saying is we should essentially do a video this is how MESBG should be played competitively.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure a way of getting secondaries and stuff, and we'll make a bunch so there's enough to do random ones. And I think it's a way to stand out and improve the game. Basically, find ways to go. Look, GW, we've actually got evidence.
Yeah, and to be fair to GW, sometimes they do listen.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, like you could, we've just kind of gone over. Like it could be a different game mode.
Yeah,
you still have MESBG as it is, but then there's also another version. And if anything, then they go, oh well, for this, then you got to buy this, and this. And it just
it's just like doing battle companies. It's a supplement book, and it's a different way to play the game. Battle Companies was really popular, really well received. I don't know how well it sold, but people loved it that played it. Yeah. We loved it, and we want to go back to it and do a campaign.
Yeah.
But you just do something like that and go, okay, this is kind of like match play, but you can have your standard match play and you can have your match play 2.0.
Yeah, like competitive match play and friendly match play.
For them, it's just another way to release a book that everyone's got to buy.
Yeah.
Why not?
With some typos and then PDF it 2 days later.
Yeah. We can write it if you want. Save the time in the FAQ.